You're listening to the We Are Libertarians Network. Learn more at wearelibertarians.com.
Works way better.
There's nothing else you can say. It's just
Chase, are you is this you extending that out for everybody, so if they have recommendations for your grandpa's nude yoga that they can
I'll let them know.
DM Chase at bosshogliberty.com.
So what about hot nude yoga?
Hot nude yoga would be even better.
There would be some interesting smells.
But I'm sure whatever
I'm for sure about
Especially
that.
once the
yoga my grandpa,
geriatrics.
Yeah.
I'm sure whatever yoga my grandpa would do would turn into hot yoga. He'd be so sweaty.
All right.
I'd try hot yoga. It's supposed to be like
I
a
would.
heck
Ready on
of a
the button?
workout.
I can barely do regular yoga.
Welcome to the Boss Hog Liberty podcast. This is episode number 93 of East Central Indiana's favorite podcast. I'm Jeremiah Morrell, and I'm joined today by co-hosts Mr. Dakota Davis and Chase Peyton.
Today's episode will be featuring Mr. Justin Juice Kelly of the Juice in the Morning podcast. We were on there just a few weeks ago talking with him and his co-hosts as well. Today we're going to be talking about Donald Trump's weird week in Washington, D.C., and we will also be talking about some weird Mexican birthday traditions and whether or not snowflakes have ruined it.
Are you allowed to say Mexican?
Yeah, you're totally cool to say Mexican.
I think it's supposed to be Hispanic.
Or Latin.
Yeah, but you don't say Hispanic restaurant.
Latinx?
You say Mexican restaurant.
I don't know.
It's a
I
Mexican
feel-
restaurant.
I feel worried. This show is about our lives in rural Indiana. As always, we promise our episodes are going to be a fun and an easy listen. Did something a little bit different today. We had about 15, 20 minutes of fun banter that you normally find on the front end of that show. That is now there for our very valued Patreon folks. If you want to catch that, the video and the audio are available to all of the Patreon folks. Patreon.com/BossHogOfLiberty. So we do have to thank everybody that's a part of that. We had another fun little add-in for those guys.
Yeah.
Producer Chris Guffey is with us tonight. You spent Christmas Eve on a mat.
Yes, for 6 minutes. And
You lasted 6 minutes.
Well, it lasted 2:44 first, and then I tapped. Then the other 3 minutes and 15 seconds I lasted. Yeah, we're good.
You tapped 4 times.
4 times.
He was
in
getting
6
with
minutes.
that triangle.
Yeah, it was deadly. And I know what it was, and I talked to Kate about it. And really what it was is my cardio was catching up to me because I'm fat and I'm lazy. And then I noticed that I was just leaving myself out there for Kate to just put me to sleep.
How many times did you watch the video back to see to study yourself?
Once, twice,
3 times a lady?
maybe. I'll never tell.
Was there an over-under on how many times he would tap?
No, there wasn't. We didn't take bets because we didn't expect him to last the 244.
Nobody did. Actually, I believe Jeremiah owes Chase $10.
Do I?
Yes.
I think you did. I said I bet you $10 that he'd last a minute.
There we go.
You know what? You keep that.
No, I got.
Hey, no.
What's the offer? What's sweeten this? Tell me why I shouldn't give you $10 right now and get you out of my life forever.
Because you're going to be driving him to Chicago for the gas money.
Yeah, put it towards my gas money.
That's a good move, actually.
Yeah. I'm helping you out, Chase.
Thanks.
You just remember that.
We're driving the Tahoe.
Oh, so he needs like another $40.
But gas is under $2 a gallon
I
if you
saw
can
that.
find it. Right now,
I
I think all of the gas stations, the power is out in this town. We have the emergency backup generator going here at Boss Hog
I think
Studios.
it's the first time since I started driving I've seen it under $2.
Really?
Yeah,
Where'd you
Yeah.
see it under 2
Okay.
at?
McCordsville.
No, the Conoco at Maine and Bundy.
All I've seen is like
For those of you
213.
listening locally,
$2.13.
$1.99.
All right, yeah. So we had a Christmas gift to the Patreon people. I went on to Patreon today and restructured the reward system, added some things
Bait
in,
and switch.
took some things out. I think it's better now than it was before. Personally, we got some really cool stuff coming. I got these really neat postcards. I made them today, which they're a postcard, but like the front end is a high quality photograph and a bunch of stuff. And
It looks like
it's neat. It's really
it looks
cool.
like Dakota Inception, where you're just like, how many times can I put my own image on this thing?
Well, since you're always the one taking the selfie, you're much closer to the camera than the rest of us are. So it's like I'm trying to like mess with the angle of the photograph before I put it in there. It took a while, but it looks good. I'm happy with it. I think it makes a good post.
It's very impressive, but it looks like fly vision. All of these pictures, like it's like 40,
Kaleidoscope,
it's like 40
Dakota.
of the similar of all of us and our guests. Because after the show's over, we always take a picture.
Yeah.
And
I
I
tried
assume
to-
you took like everyone that was in this studio is what you did or something.
Yeah,
like that.
and I tried to mix it up some, where I would do the selfies, and then I would also have the ones where it's us sitting at the table, so it didn't look like it was the same picture. Just
yeah.
but
I'm very
I mean,
excited.
you got the brick wall behind it, so there's not much you can change up.
Fantastic.
So, but
All right.
we did that, and it looks good. And then we also want to promote the Amazon wish list.
Sold out
We-
completely. Nobody can buy us anything else. We're done.
It was sold out. It did all get sold out.
We have more needs.
We do. We always need more.
I still
Constantly
want to
asking.
fix the head. I'm holding in my right hand the headphone deal so that I can hear you in both ears. So I'll just twist it like I'm a 7-year-old that did something wrong.
Is it like a cable?
Yeah, I have a
issue?
cable problem here.
We've replaced that cable like 4 times. I don't know what Jeremiah.
They're
keeps
all
doing
bad
with it.
cables.
Chewing on it,
Yeah,
Bowling a china shop over here.
rolling over it with his chair.
Yeah, oh yeah.
but there are more cables on the Amazon wish list. There's also a new headphone amp, which might fix that problem as well. And there's some stuff that's like moderately expensive that I felt kind of bad for putting it on there, but then I remembered Craig DaCosta is amazing and bought us that $300 camera. So I'm like, hey, if Craig can do that, then other people can
You never
pitch in
know.
the $60 for the headphone amp, right?
Absolutely.
Plus at my house we're saving tons of money because the electricity's off right now. So I mean, you never know.
That's true.
The whole town is out of power. So
I haven't gotten a phone call yet.
People were struggling a lot at the stoplights.
I can only imagine.
Like when I was on my way here, it was very entertaining.
We have a
have-
hard enough time when they're on with the flashing yellow
yeah,
arrows.
we have flashing yellows now. That's been a thing for about a year, and I know there was another car crash today because of them. People bitching about them. So yeah, it's,
But let's talk about you for a minute, Justin. Or Juice. The Juice. Sorry.
Either one.
named
it's
after
fine.
Orenthal James, I assume.
Yes.
Well, actually, okay. So I had the nickname given to me in high school by a football coach because he had another friend that he coached, or not a friend that he coached. He had a friend in college that was named Justin, and I reminded him of him, and they called him Juicton, and then they shortened it to Juice, and it stuck because everybody in my grade at the time thought it like annoyed me. But secretly, I was like, "Nice! This is
take
like
this.
this is a nickname." Like I'm like, because I was a newer kid at the school when I got that nickname. I was like 7th grade. I moved from New Palestine, Indiana, to Charlottesville, Indiana. So
She
like,
went from being a dragon to an Eastern Hancock something.
yeah, Royal, yeah.
And you guys
Or
probably
Royal.
had
What a
the,
weird mascot.
the most people saw Eastern Hancock in the state of Indiana play football
Oh yeah,
because everybody on I-70 gets to watch you guys play.
yeah. And honestly, playing there was a fantastic time because if you were just a average to above average athlete, you were going to play every down of every football game from your freshman year till
Nice.
you graduated. So I got a lot of chance to play football, but I mean that's where the nickname came from, and then the idea for having my own podcast, Juice in the Morning, was literally I got introduced to Joe Rogan, Adam Carolla, those perennial all stars of the podcasting industry. And I was like, man, I really want to do that. Like my dream ever since I was a kid was to be on the radio, be on TV, something like that. And I went to even Ball State for a little bit. I spent 9 years there.
And you told me earlier in the medical field, so I said, obviously you're a doctor. I didn't know they passed those out at Ball State. but
Exactly.
Here it is.
Definitely didn't make it to the doctor status. But no, I did a couple of tryouts while I was there and just realized how bad I was at being off the cuff and things like that because I'd never practiced. I'd never even tried. And I'm one of those people that when I learn something, I pick it up pretty quickly. And so finding out that I was immediately terrible at being on camera on air, I was like, well, I'm just never going to do this. So then I spent the rest of my college career learning sales in the telecommunication area and took some time off, went back and forth, all that kind of stuff. But anyways, the idea for the podcast came from watching those, thinking I could do this from home. I could figure this out, and I could just. My idea was we're going to go out drinking with our friends, and then we're going to wake up in the morning because that's where some of our best conversations came. Where you were still buzzed from the night before, but you're like kind of hungover. But like some of the most ridiculous off the wall conversations would happen with that, and that was like my idea for the whole podcast. Would be we'd go out Saturday, Sunday morning, we'd wake up. Do the podcast
and just rehash it
and do exactly what my idea was. Well, obviously, it's crazy how many people are scared to get on a microphone. They don't want to talk on a microphone, but they talk. Oh yeah, it'd be great, great time.
Greg Pence is terrified of him.
My first like 10 maybe 15 episodes was just me by myself, like just talking. And it's terrible. I've deleted them off of all the feeds. Like I don't even let people listen to them. They're still saved, but nobody's listening to that. I don't want anybody to hear that. But it just kind of started that way, and it's just really progressed from there. I mean, we've had insane opportunities to talk to crazy famous people, and it's definitely not a show like this. So your listeners, if they want to join the Juice in the Morning podcast, listen. My suggestion is scroll through the 145 episodes plus that I have, and you will find something that you're entertained by, kind of like Joe Rogan. Just scroll through and like you will see a name that you would like to listen to or talk about or listen to us talk about.
Just skip all those MMA ones, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm getting ready to have somebody on this weekend that's very exciting for me. But no, like Jake Johnson, who was the voice of Spider-Man in the Into the Spider-Verse. That's like a big movie right now. It's a like nationally well-known movie. He actually came on and was like promoting that, plus just talking to us like a regular dude. And it was one of the most exciting experiences when it came to the podcast so far, because all we did was hit him up on Instagram, said, "Hey, Jake Johnson, would you like to come on the podcast? We're huge fans." Never thought in a million years that anybody would respond, because 99% of the time nobody responds. He said, "Sure, when?" And we set a date and did it. So just being able to talk to him and just other people is a really fun time, and that's what the podcast is all about for us.
It's been an incredible medium for us, where we've had literally 2 people have said no. One person was a repeat guest. The guy that I was running against for his own reasons didn't want to come back on a couple months ago for the show. And you okay, buddy?
Oh, sorry.
Oh yeah. And then future Congressman Greg Pence, the Vice President's brother, didn't want to come on, but he did no local media at all. Otherwise, people didn't turn us down.
Yeah.
If we've asked somebody, they've come on, and it's been crazy.
Weird. We always talk ourselves up too, like real big. We're like, we've had actors, we've had state senators, and they're like, "Oh well, okay. I guess if Mike Kreider did it, I can do it."
well, just listening to like your guys' most recent episode, like that guy has had a pretty exciting, interesting life.
Tom Saunders.
Yeah. And I was like, oh my gosh, like he's, talking about stuff. And once again, I'm also telling your listeners, like, I'm way underqualified to be here when it comes to like politics and things like that. But listening to those episodes actually make me feel like I'm getting a different perspective on podcasting than I've ever had, because I don't listen to it.
Here, okay?
No, but most people elected to office aren't qualified either. They're just regular people, right? And that's the conversation, or the way we have our conversations here is it's conversational tone, right? We're talking about real issues, but we're having fun with them, and we're having real conversations like we would, like I would have with my friends, and like Dakota would have with his friends.
That's one of the things that fans of ours really I hear about the most is you're having people on, but it's not like I'm listening to WIBC or something where they have to rush and get everything out, and there's commercial breaks and all this stuff. It's like you're just sitting down and talking.
Right.
Like, and
you're kind of like a fly on the wall.
Right. You're a state senator, and I'm just going to sit here and drink beer and ask you questions that I want to know about your job.
Exactly. And I actually, even their most recent episode, you guys were talking about the cigarette tax. And as a part-time semi-smoker, I just wish, like, I had a chance, like I was watching on the live or something, I would have posted a message like, do whatever you want with that tax, because people are going to pay it. Like, I'm not going to lie. Like, I mean, they're going to grumble and bitch about it, but then they're going to be like, all right, I'm going to pay $8 for this pack of cigarettes.
Right.
Yeah.
But they'll pretend like it's for smoking cessation, but really what they're trying to do is they just want to take
raise
your money.
Yeah.
And
they know that people are going to pay for it.
You'll create a black market. Somebody will go to Kentucky. One of your buddies will go to Kentucky and be like, yeah, I'll bring back a carton for you. Just give me an extra $10.
Right.
And we'll go around it, and then Indiana will lose all of that tax money.
Yeah, absolutely.
New York's over $8 a pack. I know the pack of cigarettes here it's crazy. The Village Pantry on my route up here has it for like $5.86. It's on their sign, so I know a pack of cigarettes is that, but it's $8, $9, $10 for a pack of cigarettes in New York State. People
That's
still
crazy.
pay it, but then people also bring them over from Canada. They'll buy them and then sneak them across. Secret. Yeah. When you
And speaking about
play with
sneaking
markets,
things
you
across
create
the border,
black markets.
Speaking of smoking, you guys want to do cigars next weekend? Yes, no?
Smokeless.
Smokeless.
I have the new employer says tobacco free, so smokeless. Yeah.
Tobacco free?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Otherwise, they
Dude,
charge more.
your insurance is crazy if you're smoking.
So you don't just lie on that form?
I would never tell a lie, Juice.
I'm sorry. I'm just that.
I'm
Every time they've asked, like, do you partake in tobacco? Absolutely not.
God, who does that?
No, of course not.
It is 2018, sir.
It would be a disgusting act. Sound like Joe Buck.
All right, let's talk about taking things across
Joe
the
Buck
border.
is a football announcer, for those of you like Dakota that have no idea.
I have no idea. At
calls
this
the World
point in the
Series.
show, you just are constantly referencing things that I'm either too young or don't watch sports, and
You
I
think,
just move on. I'm like,
Do you think Brady's done with?
oh yeah, for sure.
The Michigan Wolverines backup quarterback?
Yeah, I'm not going to speak on Brady, but Gronkowski
Saint-
is definitely.
Oh,
done.
yeah.
St.
I will
Louis
say
Cardinals
He
that.
looks like a
quarterback?
broken man.
He's just old.
The St. Louis Cardinals moved to Arizona in 1988.
Oh,
Dumbass.
I'm just joking. I was talking about the baseball team.
You were awkwardly repositioning.
Yeah, I was. I was trying to get us to talk about Donald Trump's weird week in Washington. That's a major mouthful. Donald Trump's weird week in Washington, D.C.
I bought you a wall.
You did, yeah. Well, the government,
Producer Chris, you want to go get us the wall?
I will.
the government's currently
Bring
shut
on
down
the wall.
because
You got
of the wall. They can't agree on funding for the wall. The Senate. Yeah. The Senate
is great.
actually they approved like what
Perfect.
$1.7 billion for border security, but they said that none of that money could go towards building a barrier on the southern border. So the House actually, Donald Trump was talking to the House, and they actually did approve $5.7 billion for the border wall. So this creates gridlock, right? That's how this happens. And Donald Trump says unless everybody can agree that I'm getting the money for the wall, government's shutting down. And nobody agreed. They met Friday. The Senate met Friday to try to come to a conclusion, take a vote. They couldn't get the 60 votes for the border wall funding. So then there was a partial government shutdown Friday at midnight.
I have a lot of questions.
Jump
Okay.
in.
So, first question: what's there right now? Is there nothing? Like, is there nothing on the border?
No, so there's some areas.
Some areas have a wall. Some areas are a river.
Some
Some
areas have
areas
fence.
it's just covered by Border Patrol. A lot of it is private property,
Which is the issue.
So
Right.
you can't. It's a political talking point in
Right.
my view. The wall, wall to wall, Texas, Atlantic to Pacific, Gulf of Mexico to the Pacific Ocean, building an actual physical wall, very doubtful, in my view.
And I wanted to preface
Just
this.
from a guy in the
I forgot.
construction
I
industry.
forgot to preface this beforehand. The questions I'm asking is not like I'm not being sarcastic. Like if your listeners are listening, I'm not being an asshole. Like I'm not. I'm asking these because I truly am curious about it because I don't know. And then my backup question is, people from certain sides say the wall. Well, building the wall wouldn't even be effective. So then. I guess the only problem I see is like they're worried about the amount of cost for the wall, correct? Or is it?
I mean,
'cause
the
if
thing
they're
about
saying
it
it's not
is that-
effective, then why care if it's built or not?
If you were a
Animal
millionaire,
migration.
that's why it's going to be slots. That's why it's going to be slotted now. Yeah.
So you
So
can-
Bambi can get
so if
over.
you
That's
have-
a
if you've got real narrow, good, not very good birthing hips, you can slip through.
yeah, correct.
but
It's for the lizards. That's why they spent so much money on blowing lizards with leaf blowers. See if they can push them through the slats. No,
and then the Mexican guy is going to have to stand there with the leaf blower pushing them through. That'll be his summer job.
yeah,
It's lizard migration season.
he'll be getting paid
get the
tax
wall.
free
We
by
got to push them through.
Yeah, he'll be a contractor by the Border Patrol agent that's supposed to do it, and the Border Patrol agent will just pay him under the table.
Yeah.
There you go. $5 an hour, man. That's it. Rich.
Tax-free.
Yeah, that's rich there.
Tax-free.
But anyway, so back to your question. Yeah, there's not a lot. And the thing about the cost is that if you were to be paying for this and you were seeking out individual contractors and they were trying to compete to get your money and your business to pay the wall, to build the wall, then it would not be a $5.7 billion project. Everything that government touches and tries to do or tries to build, it just automatically gets bloated. It's kind of like, you're in the medical industry. It's kind of like we're dealing with insurance companies and how it's constantly being bloated because other people that are in that industry. Like it's anything that government touches, it's constantly getting blown out of proportion price-wise.
Right.
That's one of the reasons why we, as libertarians, are totally against the government trying to get it in and manipulate the market, because it always ends up bad. It always ends up with us paying more out of pocket.
I've got an idea. You build...
If this includes windmills, we're turning your mic off.
You build 2 walls,
Solar
but
panels.
they turn into an aquarium. And then you either put crocodiles or sharks inside.
So he's talking
So
about a
basically-
moat.
Yeah, you want to go like ancient.
It's basically like a huge moat.
And then on the other side of the moat, we have boiling cauldrons of oil.
Don't be ridiculous.
That's taking it too far.
Well, your sharks have lasers.
Definitely lasers.
So, yeah, it's not all covered, but what they're talking about now is it's going to be slotted. So that basically going to be these 30 feet tall steel pillars, and they're going to go, what did they say, like 20 feet down into the ground to try to prevent tunneling as well. And one of the reasons that they're going to do the slats is because you can't put a ladder on the slats as effectively as you can a wall.
Gotcha.
So at least they're trying to think about things, I guess. Like,
And the last part of the question, or questions about the wall is there really a massive amount of people that are coming over to the United States every day?
No. In fact, a lot of our illegal immigration problem is coming from the oceans, not from our southern border.
Right.
A lot of the people that come from the southern border, the problem really originated because what used to happen was all of these undocumented immigrants, they would come over, they would work in the fields in California, Arizona, whatever, picking fruit, whatever, and they would get paid cash, and then they would just go back to Mexico. And the Border Patrol knew this, right? They saw them happening. Sometimes they didn't even try to sneak across. They just went through the gates or whatever on the roads, and it didn't matter because we had what was called a revolving door policy. That ended up getting shut down. Revolving door did. And now, all of a sudden, people are like, well, we're going over there. We can make more money like we always used to, but we got to stay now. Otherwise, we're risking even more life and limb to try to get back.
Right.
And then it's escalated into this issue where now we have the coyotes that are bringing people over, and they're cutting people's arms off if they can't make payment and all this. It's an atrocity. Like, there's a lot of horrible things that happen because we decided to make things harder, right? And it wasn't horrible before. Like, I mean, I wasn't alive then, but everything I've read says
Is it more of a people moving drugs over problem?
Well, that is a big problem.
Okay.
I don't want to spend a lot of time talking about the wall, but yeah,
Yeah, sorry, I got us on that tangent. But
you're okay, but yeah, there is a problem with people moving drugs over. But I mean, that's decreasing by the day while drug laws get more and more relaxed across the United States, and we're moving away from incarceration and more into rehabilitation.
The way
So
we
that
run the
fixes
federal
that problem.
government is ridiculous. We keep letting it get taken hostage, but with these government shutdowns. Thomas Massey has a video he put out the last time we had a shutdown, probably March or April, that explained that there's like 11 funding bills that fund Congress, and they're routine. Some of them fund paying for Congress. Some of them fund paying for NASA. Some of them pay for portions of the military. And instead of doing the smaller individual bills that fund these portions of the federal government, they do what they call an omnibus, which is just a massive portion of the federal government. So now parts of it, this is what they call a partial government shutdown now, because they did pass a little bit of it, but instead of having most of the government funded, they've piecemealed it, and they've allowed big parts of it to get put together. Gerald Gabriel is in the chat, and he says that the Coast Guard is actually not getting paid right now. So he's a Coast Guard dude.
Yeah.
And
I think
he's
that's 45,000 members of the Coast Guard are the only branch of the military that's not getting paid.
Yeah,
because they weren't
they're
funded
not
yet.
They're not included in one of those bills. So what we've done is we've given the federal government too much power. We've given the president way too much power. Congress can do this without the president. If you can override a presidential veto, so he hasn't vetoed anything. They literally can't get through Congress to even get to the president's desk because they can't get out of the House. Yeah.
This is what happens whenever your politics devolves into blind tribalism and hatred for the other caller. That's all it is. And no, I'm not going to vote for this because you're on the red team and I'm on the blue team.
So yeah, absolutely.
Well,
People
and
should be,
as a complete layman, it just seems like a bunch of bullshit.
Oh yeah, for real, it is. That's
figure it out. I mean, you guys, that's what you get paid to do. Well, I guess you're not getting paid right now, but
the congressmen.
so they're fine.
They're fine. Yeah.
Yeah,
And they're on the way out. Some of these guys are never going back, so they really don't give a damn.
right.
They don't care.
There's
but this is the third time they've been
400,000
shut down this year.
Yeah, 400,000 federal. Actually, my numbers are wrong on here. It's 380,000 federal employees have been at home, so they've been told they're non-essential and they're not supposed to come into work. And then 420,000 federal employees have been working, but they have to keep working. They're deemed essential, and they won't be getting paid for this right now. They'll get back paid.
Everybody's going to get paid eventually.
But if this lasts 30 days, if the government shut down for a whole month, last time it was shut down, 19 days? There's 19 days of government shutdown, and those people, they still had to work, but they weren't getting paid.
That's
their
my-
weekly paychecks.
That was my other question that I had written down and left at my office. How long of a government shutdown would it need to be for us to actually feel it on a day-to-day level? Because for me, I'm not saying government employees, I'm saying myself personally, because when I wake up in the morning, everything still works. The police officer's still working. My job is still working. They're still taking taxes out of my paycheck. So how long until that effect actually would be felt?
Everybody gets touched by the government in a little bit different way, right? Like you might care about a certain program that gets funded by them on occasion, or say you want to go get a mortgage. All of a sudden, the FHA doesn't exist, right? Mm-hmm. So you can't get a mortgage, and you wanted to get a mortgage, and you're getting screwed on that one. Or your cousin or your uncle or you are not getting a paycheck because they work for one of these federal agencies. Then that's going to affect you. Mm-hmm. You might want to go to a national park, and all of a sudden the bathrooms are getting backed up.
Right.
There are so many different ways the federal government is entwined. That it's hard to say how quickly it's going to get you.
What I'm getting at is how
some people may never be affected.
Exactly.
Right.
So that's what I'm trying to figure out. And that's just because I'm curious about it, because once again, this is stuff that I don't follow on a regular basis. I mean, we had you guys on and talked about a lot of stuff that you guys aren't fans of. So I'm trying to be interested though, so that I have a broader experience of the world than what I had previously coming in here.
The TSA, say they don't fund the TSA. All of a sudden we grind all planes to the ground, or the FAA, the Federal Aviation Group. If we say we're not going to fund the FAA, so we cut funding and stop every plane from flying unless you're going to break a federal regulation, so air traffic control stops. That would affect you pretty quick, right?
Away.
And that happened in the 80s, where they went on strike, and then the president fired them all, and they picked somebody else.
That's crazy.
So, I mean, there are different ways that you could feel it really fast. Who knows? You're losing some sound over there, Guffey. I don't know what's happening.
What was
he's running away? I think
what was the longest government shutdown?
I don't know. Jonathan Phillips is saying 16 days here. I remember there was one in the 90s, but I don't have the dates.
Right.
The dates
I'm not
memorized.
sure.
It becomes theater. It all becomes theater for the two sides to decide who can survive it longest, and you calculate. Well, what's the problem going to be? How long can we last? When it's happened in the Obama administration, they put up barriers in front of the World War II memorial. So you had these images of the of veterans that are 85, 90 years old that can't get to their memorial. There was no reason for those to be up there.
Right.
They did it for the theater. Right?
Yeah.
This time, the Trump administration has tried to be a little bit more cognizant of that. So they've left national parks open, but the bathrooms aren't going to, you may
Right.
be able to go, but you can't go get toilet paper,
Yeah.
right? So who knows? Who knows how it's going to shake out?
And also, how much is it that, like, is it our president that's like so wanting to be the center of attention type situation that he doesn't want to look weak in front of anybody?
I think, he went from, in 2016, it was Mexico's going to pay for the wall. And then it became somebody else is going to pay for the wall. And now it's just, I want the wall built. So they continue to freak out over we have to have this wall. And he feels like it's a campaign promise. So the way that Congress has allowed itself to get weaker and weaker, we let it get taken hostage.
Yeah.
And that's what's happened again. We should have, Indiana has a 2-year budget. We set a budget for 2 years. They set it and forget it, and then you don't have these hostage situations. The federal government gets funded for 3 months, and then it comes back in again.
Wow. That seems ridiculous.
Yeah, because we have all these continuing resolutions. Mm-hmm. They pass something, and then the president refuses to sign it. They say it's better now in the chat, Chris. I don't know what you did. You want to give us an update? What'd you fix?
They just kicked it.
I did absolutely nothing.
Did you blow in it?
Did Dakota fix it? Because he's disappeared.
No, he's done nothing either. We don't know what it is.
They punched it like the Fonz.
It just happened. It just happened by itself.
Hey.
It's a mysterious of God.
Miraculous.
God did
It's a miracle that we're on the air ever at any point. Let's be honest. Like, this is a bunch of guys that aren't really in radio.
What people don't understand is there's a lot of technology that goes into this. It seems like a monkey could run it, but it's not true.
It's not, and
You'd be surprised I'm a monkey and I'm running it right now.
There's a digital board. There's another device under it that's some sort of limiter that I don't understand the wizardry that goes into that.
Yeah, Chris told me to get one of those. I was like,
it's complicated.
I'm gonna hold off on that.
There's a recorder. There's another device that goes from an iPad to a wireless camera that sends it up to the internet, and that has its own volume controls. We have to have the electricity on to make the internet work, and the internet has to work right. And it's insane the amount of stuff to put this on the air.
Right.
Hey, Chris.
All just in a miracle.
I just want to say you did a great job, man. Fighting Cade, you lasted a lot longer than I thought you would.
I lasted a lot longer than everybody thought.
So because of this shutdown, I can only imagine that's why President Trump was answering a hotline on Christmas Eve, Dakota. And
so the hotline happens every Christmas.
Does the president have to answer, or do they have people for that?
No, it's a whole tradition of presidents going. I think back to like Carter or something. Anyway, it's a private center. I think it's called
NORAD.
Yeah. Where am I at on my notes here?
I don't know.
Here it is. So basically, in the
I saw this story too, and I just lost
it's these kids are basically they're calling in to track the location of Santa Claus, and the first lady and the president, they always sit down, and it's just always this really awkward looking thing where they have these.
Once again, as always, I saw the pictures and the memes before I knew what the story was.
Well, they have these old landline phones, right, and on these little tiny desks next to them. And they keep them to their ear.
It's pretty charming.
And then someone from NORAD patches a kid through, right? And they go, "Oh, good evening. Who am I speaking to?" And they say, "My name's Billy. Where's Santa Claus, Mr. Trump?"
That's a good impression. I like.
And this young lass's name was Colin.
I'm not for sure.
Yeah,
it's
something like that. Colon or something. I don't know. I can't remember.
Semicolon.
But Trump answers the phone, and they go through the whole thing.
Do
and
you
he
get
says,
to hear both sides of the conversation?
No, you only get to hear the one side, right? So this little
you
girl.
don't hear the little girl.
Yeah, the little girl's calling President Trump, and he says, "Oh, so do you believe in Santa Claus?" And she's calling a line to track Santa. And she's 7. She believes in Santa Claus. And he laughs and he says, "Well, at 7 it's kind of marginal, right?" And then laughs. It's like, and of course the media's freaking out, right? Everybody's saying we're worried about the children because Donald Trump's going to tell the children, and if you're listening to this with your kids, then turn it off right now. But
no, it's already passed.
Donald Trump, they're all saying Donald Trump's going to tell the kids
earmuffs
that Santa Claus isn't real, and they're freaking out. Well, the Charleston Courier, which is a newspaper, tracked down the little girl, and starts asking her questions about her telephone call with Trump.
I think that's ridiculous already.
Yeah, exactly. Because they go, do you know what the president's asking you? And she says, I don't know what marginal means. Like,
but from context, I think that means that Santa's not real.
Yeah, but
because I'm not an idiot.
In English class, they tell us about context clues.
Exactly. That's
the fact you're asking me about it. Now I know Santa's not real. Thanks a lot.
She's also like, that guy I talked to on the phone sounded an awful like the guy from Home Alone 2.
Well, and I'm not going to lie. Like, I mean, she is 7. We are in a day and age of very advanced, like, access to things at a young age. It is possible. Like, I mean, I'm kind of like, I'm not on Trump's side in this, but I'm kind of seeing his point of view. Like, oh yeah, you're 7. You've probably had Facebook for 2 years, so you know Santa's not real.
I believed in Santa until I was 18, so I don't know what you're talking about, Juice.
So,
Until they sent you to Afghanistan, you're like, why the hell didn't he find me here?
He didn't find me here.
My little cousin's 11, and she still believes in Santa, which
I think she's
That
just got
says
a
something
racket
about
going,
her.
dude.
Hey, when you stop
her.
believing in Santa, man, all you get is underwear and
And
socks.
Yeah.
we did the Elf on the Shelf this year, which is the creepiest fucking thing ever.
Oh my! Now we have to put the E
Another
again.
explicit episode.
I'm gonna sneak it in each episode.
Chase is on explicit.
Okay, so it's the creepiest thing ever, and she didn't believe in the elf, and she didn't tell us she didn't believe in the elf until after Christmas, and we watched this video of this elf moving on Facebook by itself, and she looked amazed, and she was like, "I didn't even believe in the elf. I can't believe it's real." And I'm just
Oh
like,
my
"Oh my
God.
gosh,
I
no hope for this kid."
Whenever I was the young girl's age, in first grade, I was with my dad, and we were at my grandmother's house for Christmas, and she always wrote from Santa, even though we were at her house. And I just asked my dad, whenever it was just me and him, like I waited for everybody to leave, and I was like, "Hey, Dad, is Santa Claus real?" And he goes, "Have you ever heard of a fat man that can fit down a chimney?"
Tim Allen could do it.
And I was like, no. And he goes, "Well, what do you think?" And I said, "I don't think Santa's real." And he just goes, "Well, don't tell your sister." Because my sister's 3 years younger than me.
Right.
You know, and I'm 7.
Earmuffs, Bailey.
So I've got
First thing I did, of course, was, Bailey,
tell her.
they're lying.
Yeah, I got 2 Santa things. My wife's dad told his kids that Santa wasn't real because they kept pestering him and saying, "Why does Santa bring more presents to Mom's house than Dad's house?" And then, then he told them. So that was a pretty uncomfortable situation. And I mean, I was probably like 7 or 8 years old at the same time. I was very, very confident that Santa was real, and I was arguing it really, really vehemently at school. I was just like, I was telling
You
everybody
say that word like Dakota does, by the way.
I was like, this. I mean, Santa's real. He is
The correct way.
So then I get home, or I'm on the ride home with my mom, and she's, you know, I'm like telling her, I'm like, yeah, like Timmy over here keeps telling me he's not real, and I know he's real because he just dropped stuff off, you know, last year. And my mom,
His check clears every year.
and my mom is in a uncomfortable situation because she's like, she doesn't want me to get made fun of at school, and she's like, I think it's like I gotta tell him. And she told me, and then I just like spent the rest of the ride home just flipping out on her, telling her, "You lied to me. I'm never going to trust you again. I can't believe you allowed me to believe this long, because now I look like an asshole at school."
So, yeah, I had a really good friend of mine.
Hopefully you pause before the Easter Bunny conversation.
I don't even want to start with that.
In elementary school, I had a friend that he believed in Santa Claus, and it was pretty late, and everybody knew. And we all just kept telling him, we're like, "Dude, Santa's not real." Like, and he's like, "Yes, he is. I've seen him in my house."
Which friend? Name names.
I'm not gonna name names.
Mason,
This is embarrassing.
Mason Rottinghouse.
Yeah, Mason. And we were all like, "Dude, he's not real. Like, you're seeing somebody dress up Santa Claus," and he knew for a fact Santa was real, and we were all on the naughty list.
As we pivot away from this, I will pitch Patreon one more time, because Mason, on our gift exchange episode that was there, the video of it, Mason gave me a gift
That terrified us all.
and Chris Spangle and Dakota Davis are looking at each other, just absolute daggers, going, Oh my God. Oh my God.
Pure
oh my
horror.
God. Mason gave Jeremiah an $800 computer. Terrified because it was
Yeah.
the original packaging, original box for like a Microsoft Surface. And I'm unwrapping it, and it looks.
And he's at Mason's a 19-year-old college student.
Yes. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah.
We're like, this broke college student is giving a 35-year-old man an $800 laptop, and he didn't get him anything.
I let him be on our show.
That's
So-
payment enough.
So there was absolute freak out terror coming from Spangle
Yeah.
about how I was going to have to return it. So
I was
once
just
again,
like,
another reason to join the Patreon to hear that.
I was so quiet because I just didn't know what to say. I'm like, and Chris is like, you can't take that from him.
Oh my God, that was quite
Yeah,
the
it was
episode.
good.
Between that and the glitter, that is, by the way, still
The glitter
All over everything.
war. Unfortunately, Trump couldn't end the glitter war whenever he was ending the Syrian crisis, as well as pulling troops out of Afghanistan, which was another part of Donald Trump's
good
weird
news,
week.
Chris. You finally won.
I did.
Yep.
Are you sure?
Everybody, round of applause for
The war's
Chris.
over.
The war's not over.
You can come home now.
The war's not over, boys.
So Donald Trump,
Your boy, your boy Mattis rage quit though.
He sure did.
yeah,
He's like, F you, Trump.
he so Trump announced that he was pulling all of the troops out of Syria, and apparently he had been having conversations about other wars as well, other places that we had troops, and that's right. Mad Dog Mattis said, "We are way too different. I want to be the policeman of the world. I enjoy sending our young men over there to try to sacrifice their lives for no good reason other than protecting special interests. You do not want to do that, Mr. Trump, and you're trying to protect these young men. I don't like that." Right? That's what he said?
No, he's just.
That's verbatim.
It is. It's verbatim. No, he's just a soldier, man. He's a leader that you want.
No, okay.
that you want there.
He-
So
I will say, General Mattis did do quite a bit of good whenever he was sitting as the as Secretary of Defense, because I've heard stories from a lot of my military friends that are saying we have new equipment, everything is getting better now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're not constantly breaking down just trying to drive down the interstate. And I'm like, okay, obviously some stuff's getting straightened out. If just regular Joes on the ground are being able to see major improvements like that.
Well, they've
So-
thrown a lot more money into it. They had sequestration under the one thing the Tea Party accomplished was that they had sequestration in the federal budget, and they tied it to the military spending, and that was like the poison pill that was going to keep them from doing it. And they actually did that with both military spending and regular spending. They threw that away in the last continuing resolution, Juice, and when they agreed to turn the government back on 9 months ago. So anyway, that's a part of why they had that money again.
Right. But, I mean, our national defense is one thing that our government is actually allowed to spend money on. So
It's just the 100 and some military bases overseas that I
Exactly.
have objection to, right?
But it seems like Trump just said this week that we're not going to be the policeman of the world anymore.
Yeah,
and whenever
our Lord and Savior Ron Paul, the former congressman from Texas, he is absolutely all over this the Syria news. Very excited,
Yeah.
fully supporting.
Who do
And
you think
somehow the left is now pro-war.
Right.
Who do you think could win in a fight? Who do you think could win in a fight, General Mattis or Fake Farmer Cade?
Oh, Mattis. Mattis would tear his ass up.
I want to know how old Mattis is.
Oh, he's got to be in his
72.
70s.
But he looks
We need
so
to-
scary.
He does. We need. I don't know. We better trust Guffey over here because Guffey's fought Cade. So if anybody would know out of our whole group how Cade fights,
I know Guffey's 2-0 in the Boss Hog. Oh, I guess we can invite the former defense secretary on the show.
He's
And
68.
if he wants to roll with Cade,
not that old.
we can certainly accommodate.
Yeah, but that face has seen some stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
He'd
been
tear
through it.
Cade up.
Just know if Cade rolls with Mattis, the entire Marine Corps is going to come here. And we're up shit creek without a paddle.
So
Yeah. So we.
As long as it's behind the paywall.
A lot of the more traditional Republicans in the legislature have been super critical. People like Lindsey Graham, Marco Rubio, Ben Sass, Mitch McConnell, and Ben Sass. I really do enjoy Ben Sass. I like listening to him a lot. Mitch McConnell all just been going crazy. Lindsey Graham even took a trip to Iraq to talk to soldiers, and Trump's not pulling troops out of Iraq, right? Okay, so keep that in mind. Lindsey Graham takes a trip to one of our safest combat zones and talks to troops there and is planning on going back and telling the president why we need troops in Afghanistan from his trip in Iraq.
And Lindsey Graham is the model, right?
Lindsey,
I'm thinking of Ashley Graham. I apologize.
Lindsey Graham is the confirmed bachelor from South Carolina.
Confirmed bachelor.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's why I'm not, but I'm learning a lot right now because I've heard all of these names, but I just don't know exactly what any of them do.
Yeah, it's crazy. Whenever we first sent troops,
So this is a lot like the DC Comics conversation.
No, it's great.
I have heard of Superman.
Exactly. This is, but it's what I told Chris Spangle when we are libertarians. Like, I was like, this is actually educational for me. This is great. Like, I love every minute of this because I'm learning something that I didn't know before.
That's how
I'm not
it
in
is,
politics because I want to be. I'm in politics for self-defense.
There you go.
like I truly, they steal from you, and you need to learn to speak the language
That's
so you
true.
can fight back.
I completely agree with that.
So CNN took a trip. Some reporters,
Very low ratings.
I'm sorry.
They took a trip over to Afghanistan, and they talked to the leading general there. No, colonel. That's a colonel, right?
Nobody
if
cares.
you're in charge in
No,
in
it's going to be a
specific region.
general.
Okay,
Yeah.
so general. I was right the first time.
Yeah.
The reporter lady there, she's talking to him, and she's asking about Trump's plan to slice the manpower in Afghanistan down by half, and which they don't have many people there now. They only have 14,000?
Something like that.
Yeah, and he's going to take it down to 5,000, right?
I think he's pulling out 7. So,
Okay. Well, I thought he was
so it could be
get
6,
to
6 to
zero.
7. Yeah.
And so he's slowly pulling back troops again. But whenever we first started to occupy Afghanistan, we sent 100,000. We at our peak had 100,000 troops over there, and it's been getting cut and getting cut and getting cut. And she just asked the general straight up, "Are you going to be able to do your job that you've been doing here with the 5,000 troops?" And well, he actually said yes.
Oh, absolutely not. He doesn't know. He's not on the ground. Absolutely.
He's been living there, Chris.
It doesn't matter. He does not know. He's in his little.
He doesn't go outside.
He's in his little hooch over there drinking booze and just talking to the president of Afghanistan.
What he said was that if we can do this efficiently and not just automatically take all the manpower out, then we can get organized enough to where we can still run efficient with 5,000 troops.
I mean, if you've got 5,000 troops there, probably 1,500 to 2,000 of them are just support staff that never go anywhere.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then you've got 2 or 3 shifts of people that are going out at a time. So you're talking about maybe having 1,000 people patrolling or doing operations outside of the base.
Yeah, but you're talking about the entire country of Afghanistan,
Right.
which is huge. And then you also have,
It's not like Indiana where it's nice, flat, and level.
no, hell no, it's not.
It's not.
It's just a desert.
Chase has never been anywhere but the Midwest. So he has no idea.
It's so mountainous.
I didn't have a problem on Call of Duty. I never got tired in that game.
He was using that extra perk.
All right, so let's move on, Chase. I hear you have an op-ed that you want to talk about, and apparently my notes say that snowflakes have ruined Mexican birthdays.
I don't know anything about the story. To tell.
Chase, the most prepared of any of us.
Listen, when I first started coming on the show, I used to research every subject, and then I
Really? Because I don't remember that.
Yeah, what?
I never remember this.
I stopped.
Is that back when you wouldn't talk and you just sat there quietly, but you knew what the hell was going on?
Yes, I knew what was going on at that point. Now I say what I mean. I just don't know.
Yeah,
what we're
now you
talking
just
about.
make us put explicit next to the episode title.
I'm trying to sneak that in at least once a show.
All I can't get over the title of this bullet point: snowflakes have ruined Mexican birthdays. so my first thought is it's ruined Mexican birthdays. So like Hispanic children are having their birthdays ruined by snowflakes.
Just like Trump is ruining Christmas for him.
So what happened?
So in the citizens of Henry County, there was
Henry County's news leader.
It's where we get our news for this show.
Sure is.
There was a member who said that, God dang it, we went to El Chile Poblano, and my cousin, it was her birthday, and we told the people it was her birthday. They brought out a sombrero. They brought out
and everything was good at this point.
Yeah, great, right? They have best Mexican food in Newcastle.
Only if you go to the one on 103 by the old mall.
You got to 14th Street.
Yeah.
You can't go State Road 3. That'd just be wrong.
It is. It's terrible.
And so they bring out the sombrero. They start singing Happy Birthday. And they have a little paper plate that they put a little bit, like a spritz of Ready Whip on it. And then they smear it in the birthday person's face when they're not expecting it from behind, right?
Smash it.
They-
It's always
Smash
behind.
it in their face, right?
And she says, no one knew. No one told us. My cousin has a bad neck.
No, she said disabled. Like,
Yeah.
And when I think of disabled, like I think like, was it somebody that was in one of those like powered wheelchairs?
You think of like
and
Christopher
that person
Reeves where
was
you
sitting
blow in.
there. Yeah,
Where you blow in and you move. Yeah.
and so there's a little bit
Happy
of
birthday to me.
there's a little bit of ignorance on both sides. If that's the person, but I'm guessing that's not the person who's sitting there.
So she says, "Hey, disabled, have a bad neck. No one told us we were getting pie in the face, and it was rough. And now she's going to be spending the holidays in pain."
So this goes viral on the local community Facebook page, and everybody is DMing the other person about it, going, "Did you see this?"
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
first two people are like, "You should sue."
I wish
you definitely
that-
need to file a lawsuit against them.
That's
People were
assault.
saying sue, and people were saying it was assault.
It's not assault because they misspelled. It's like assault.
Here's my
Assault.
thing. Here's my thing. If getting a pie in the face a little bit too rough classifies assault in your book, then you have lived the most sheltered life I've ever seen in my life.
It's
ridiculous.
I
Were they
wouldn't-
complaining about that free dessert they got though?
Not worth it. If you're in pain over the holidays,
Is to me.
ruined Christmas Eve.
She's definitely
How
smiling
old
in
is
the
this lady?
Polaroid with the sombrero
Yeah.
on, and like what I hope is in the Polaroid is she's got the sombrero on, and there's the person behind her with the like pie cream, like it's getting ready to come in and hit her in the face, and then just ruin her holidays.
and
I think
there-
that'd be a
there are
great photo,
people-
and I want that.
there are people who are on there who have obviously been inside the restaurant or had it done to themselves or their family members and witnessed the hundreds of times that this staff has done this in the past. And it's like, listen, they don't do it hard. They literally it's a little bit of whipped cream. And they just go. they just like they do it in a
They've
circle.
dealt with this before.
We did
They
it to-
smashed it in somebody's face, and somebody threatened to sue. So
They
now they're
broke
nice
their
about
nose.
it.
They did it to we did it to my 66-year-old grandmother last year. Okay.
God rest her soul. I'm sorry it took her life.
Yeah, well, she had neck problems. And
It ruined her holiday.
But anything for content around here,
How old was this lady?
we don't know.
We
no
don't know.
idea.
Got to be a boomer.
Definitely
So-
a boomer.
lawsuit on the whole entire establishment or the person that did the pieing.
I think everybody will get named, all the way from the restaurant to everybody on staff there to Kim Cronk, the county commissioner, for allowing it to happen in his county.
Yep.
It's all Kim Cronk's fault.
I do blame Kim.
And
I
no
agree with
And
suing.
you.
Darren Jacobs, because they probably should have had some zoning.
No
too.
suing of the family members for telling them that it was her birthday and knowing somebody had to know. If it was a
Yeah.
group
Yeah.
and
Well, you all know
they've been going to this restaurant,
I
I
wanna
guarantee
know-
they've been going to this restaurant.
There has to be a person who has taken a cell phone video. It's 2018.
Oh,
You
yeah.
can't go anywhere without and do something without someone taking a video on their smartphone. I want to see that. And
So you want to see the actual act.
I want to
the
see the
Zuckerberg
act
film.
and the way that I would feel bad and eat my words about all this is if they just came up behind her and went,
Well, that's what I'm like. That's what
I
I'm trying to
really,
figure
really
out.
hope that's
If you
what
have
happens.
if you have the
Like, if
private
you're gonna
video,
get sued,
I would
at
feel-
least make it worth it.
I would
All
feel,
in.
send it to Dakota@bosshoggerliberty.com.
please do. I would feel like a horrible human for putting this in the show notes. If I watched that, I'd be like, oh my God.
Well, I commented in the chat in the community forum, the Citizen Center County. I was like, isn't that the deal? Like, you go to the Mexican restaurant, you know you're going to get that. You're going to get the whipped cream in the face.
Don't
And you
tell them
literally-
it's your birthday.
So if you go and don't tell them. I looked it up on YouTube, and there's literally
Free
like
fried
80,
ice cream, man.
I like to
80
think,
videos of it in a row of
Right.
this is what happens.
I like to think that they didn't know, but they really wanted that free fried ice cream. and then it just came out of nowhere and just slammed right in her stupid face. That's how I like to envision it.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
I agree with that.
And that's why we need the wall, obviously.
Yes.
Full circle.
2 walls, an aquarium, and some crocodiles.
Sharks with lasers
Walls
on
or,
their heads.
or slats?
walls.
That's
But
not
it's
ladder
an
proof.
aquarium. Yeah, but
Ah,
how are
that's-
they going to cross?
Exactly.
That's true.
Well, they just lay the ladder.
Yeah,
over
Lay the
it.
ladder over it.
Haven't
And
you
then they
seen
take
the
their
movies?
chances.
Haven't you seen the movies where
Have
it's-
you?
Haven't you ever witnessed a Mexican construction worker that like painting the outside of a building? Those guys know how to work ladders like nobody's business. They are good.
Have
That's
you
1,000%
donated to anything,
true.
Chase, on the GoFundMe for the wall construction or the ladders or the anti-tunneling against the ladders?
Yeah,
Have you
man.
picked a side?
I have.
Have you got your receipt?
Yeah.
I think it's tax deductible.
Is it?
No.
It's a charity.
So that's another question that we didn't get into when we were talking about it that I had. That guy that's raised the money, is that able? Like somebody said, I saw once again another
the House
clickbait.
has to vote.
I saw a clickbait article that was like, this guy can't even use the money.
Well,
But I didn't click on it. I just read the.
that's half true. He can't just say, "Hey, Homeland Security, here's a check for $1 billion."
Right.
And they go, "Okay, thank you, mister."
There's a box on your taxes. You can just give them extra money. So I suppose he can
Right,
take
you
it and then
can.
just give
You
$1
can
billion
write it as a
extra.
donation. But in order for the Homeland,
But he can't-
allotted to Homeland
Yeah.
Security, it has to pass through Congress.
Congress has to say where it's going to go. They'll just
Right.
they'll take your money and spend it.
So they'll
however.
take like 3/4 of it
Yeah.
and be like,
And we have a
So-
Democrat-controlled Congress starting in 2019. Remember that.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
It'll be like like we do in Indiana, where you get $1 billion for the roads, but then we take $100 million of it and we give it to trails, and $100 million of it to high-speed internet in random towns you've never heard of.
Yeah.
Even though it's all supposed to go to the roads. They'll do the same thing with the border wall money.
right.
I love high speed.
This road money is going to Rome, Indiana. We're like, that's not a real place. Oh, it is.
It's a Simpsons episode. This is what you guys are describing.
Monorail.
Right now.
All right. Chase, it's time for final thoughts.
Ooh.
What'd you prepare tonight?
I have a couple things.
You have anything for Justin? Any questions?
Yeah, it's for everybody, okay?
Okay.
What's your favorite gift you ever got for Christmas?
Ever?
Ever.
I got it.
Or an interesting story that happened to you as a kid during Christmas?
I got one.
Let's start with Dakota, and we'll work our way around the room.
One of my favorite things that happened at Christmas time was it was whenever the Xbox 360 first came out, right?
Yeah.
And I wanted one so bad. So I'm like asking. That's the only. Every year I just ask for one thing from everybody, and I'm like, y'all can figure out who's paying for it.
It's a great move.
Yeah. Sometimes it works out. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes they're like, oh, I thought she was gonna get it for you. But
I
anyway.
thought you were in charge of world peace this year.
Yeah. So I asked for an Xbox 360, and we go to my grandpa's house for Christmas, and he's got the gifts all set out, and there's a box under the tree, and it's Xbox size. So I'm like, here it is, boys and girls, I got it. And I open it up, and there's a box, and there is a note inside the box, and there is another wrapped smaller box inside of there, and it says, I know you asked for an Xbox, but I am not able to afford it this year, so this is what our Xbox was when I was a kid. So I opened up the other gift, and it's like an antique Marilyn Monroe puzzle. And I was like,
Awesome.
yay! And I'm like, whatever. So I, say thank you, move on. And right before we were getting ready to leave, he's like, oh, wait, hold on. I think I forgot something in the bedroom. And he had an Xbox.
Nice.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Are we talking Xbox One or Xbox 360?
360. I was,
Yeah, 'cause
I
you're
was
not that
young.
old.
Yeah.
See, so I have a story like that as well, but it was Nintendo 64 because I'm a little bit older than you. But Nintendo 64 was a big deal, and I got that. But no, mine's not necessarily like a story or anything. I just want to kind of call my mom out on something that she's done since I was a little kid, and it's every single thing that I've ever asked for this is the first year, thank God for Amazon, because she can share and she can see what I've asked for. But every year leading up to this year, I've always asked for something, and she's gotten me the equivalent, but not exactly what I wanted. So my first year, like one of the first examples, I asked for a gas-powered RC car. And
gas-powered?
Yeah, because I wanted something that was really fast and cool as a kid. So it's Christmas. I'm opening up my gifts, and it says on the box, fastest electric remote controlled car.
It's the Tesla, okay?
Yeah. So like I can be kind of mad, but also at the same time, it's a bitchin' little like RC car that like it was the one where the tires went from like really wide to really skinny, like as it went really fast.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about.
So I got that.
Juice, how old are you?
I am 31 years old.
All right, yeah.
And so then the next
Shut up, Dakota.
the next gift that I distinctly remembered is I was in high school and I wanted a black North Face because black North Face was a status symbol when you're in high school. I mean,
I still wear one,
and I love them. I love the material, all that stuff. And so I said, Mom, I really want a black North Face. I really want a black North Face. So Christmas comes around. I'm opening up my gifts. You know, I'm really excited because I know she's going to give me the North Face. Open it up. It's a charcoal gray Columbia. So I'm like, oh no. Once again, I can't really be mad because it's still serving the same purpose. It's keeping me warm. And I love my mom. Like my mom and I are super close, but she just never
I want everyone
to
think I'm rich, Mom.
Exactly.
Don't you?
Mom, you got me the big dog.
Exactly. And it's just, that's always been the way she was. And so I've just kind of accepted it. Like I've accepted it as that's just the way Mom does things. And then this year was the first year, thank God to Amazon, I put on a wish list that she was able to get on there and buy exactly what I had asked for. I got some Husky liners for my truck because I bought my truck used and there was a few of the
you went Husky, you didn't go
WeatherTech. Exactly.
You chose the
I was
other
just waiting for somebody else to say it.
Listen,
because I wanted the WeatherTech.
I have Husky. I like them.
No, they're nice. I like them. I like them a lot. But once again, like I said, she bought the Husky because I put that on the wish list. I did want the WeatherTech, but I put the Husky on there because I knew that she now has the ability to buy the thing that she sees on Amazon. So thanks to Mom. I love her. She's great. But
yeah,
she really made me feel bad when I was a kid.
Didn't ask for anything this year. I just was like, give me money because I want a Pixel Slate.
Here's an invoice.
Which is it's the new Google tablet. I was like, I really want one of those, but I don't trust any of you guys to buy it. I'm really picky about my technology and stuff. And it ended up like my wife bought me a smartwatch because she thought I've been dropping hints forever because I just kept talking about them. Mm-hmm. But I wasn't. I was just like, oh, those are really cool. And she bought me
You got it Christmas Eve. How's it working out?
It's great. I love it.
It's a Fossil, right?
Yeah. So I got a 3D. See, look at this.
Ooh.
Look at that. Your name's
That's
on
pretty
there.
cool.
I had a Motorola smartwatch for a little over a year, and half the screen quit working.
Damn.
So I went back to a
Nice.
real.
I like it.
A real watch. I don't have the smartwatch anymore.
What about you, Jer? Any stories?
Yes. So two things that came to mind. That's why I deferred because I didn't have anything come to mind first. Christmas for me is really about the experiences and family. Like I really don't give a damn about getting anything anymore.
Sure.
Especially the year you get married, where you registered for everything you could possibly want in your life, and there's not a damn thing you need. There's not a material. It just wasn't. We didn't need anything.
And that's the thing. Like when you start to get older, you just kind of buy everything you want.
Right.
So it's hard for people to buy for you.
Yeah.
My wife and I go through that all the time. We just most of the time we just say, "What do you want?" Okay. Yeah. This is the first year that I actually bought her something somewhat sentimental. I bought her the Justin Timberlake something looking back in front of me book or whatever, and because she's a huge fan of Justin Timberlake, and that worked out. I bought it early. She was very, very, very happy about it. I don't I don't do very, very many sentimental things, but I space them out enough that it's a really big thing when I do it, so that I get a lot of praise when I do it. So
that's
great.
the secret.
I normally try to do like memories or something, like a trip or a concert or something like that. That's kind of what my move has been, if we were talking about it that way. But this time, Sarah and I, we literally just got each other a microwave. We needed it, and that was the big thing we got each other. And it wasn't that much, and we did it for each other, and it was done.
I just
was
bought
like
a whole kitchen of appliances. I shouldn't have got ordered anything.
You should have wrapped it up as this was Christmas.
Well, my wife's dad actually wrapped a box and put a picture of the barn door, sliding door that he put above or like in front of our bathroom, our master bath.
Yeah.
He like wrapped that, put like some wood in it to make it heavy, and like we opened it, and it's just like a picture of the
my
the
dad's
thing that he
done that
built.
before. My dad's like,
So I was like, all right, that's pretty cool. I like
dad's
that.
like, remember
Good move.
this?
Power move. Power
so
move,
remember
Johnny.
I did this for you? You ungrateful heathens.
But we did like, I have much more fun giving gifts than I do
Oh,
getting
yeah.
them.
I can't ever wait to do it.
But my memories, I guess, as a kid there were two. One was a memory that my mom and dad and sister absolutely swear we did this thing every year. And my brother and I are like, oh, what the hell are you talking about? Like, you had a different childhood than we did.
I know.
And Dakota's family, I think we may have talked about this before on the show. Dakota's family, Christmas Eve, your mom posted a picture of all of you, the kids in your family, your sister, all of you guys are looking for a Christmas pickle on your tree.
Yes.
A Christmas pickle.
A Christmas
We
pickle,
do
which apparently is a tradition that I hadn't heard of until like
Oh, it's
3
a
or 4
thing.
years ago.
You guys do
That
the
you-
pickle?
that you put
my
a-
wife and her work does it.
That you put a pickle on a tree and then somebody has to find it.
Like a legit, like
No, it's a plastic pickle ornament.
What's
Kinda
the,
like
isn't
this
there a
thick.
name for it that's not
Yes,
just like
exactly
pickle
like
on a
that.
tree? Like there's a name for
We just
it.
have always
So-
called it the Christmas pickle.
Okay.
I think this is something that was played without my brother and I knowing about it, and my mom maybe just told my sister, because my sister's like, oh, I've known about this for years. She's 11 years younger than I am, so my brother and I had a little bit of a different childhood than she did, I guess. But she's like, yeah, I play every year. I win every time. I'm like, we didn't even know the goddamn game was going on. Like,
so
I
it
have
was a
no
landslide
idea.
competition.
Right. Like, where she's playing a game we're not even aware of.
She's winning.
And she's winning. She's
That's all that
dominating.
matters.
She's like
Undefeated.
22-0.
Yeah.
She just needed a confidence boost. That's why mom did it. She just told her about it.
And we just finally got clued in about, hey, we're looking for the pickle. And I'm like, what the hell are you talking about?
Oh, you guys do the
Danny's-
pickle?
Danny's the exact same way.
You guys have been missing out on $20.
Yeah, well, and now I find out there's money involved.
This was the first year in like 6 years that I didn't find the pickle.
Oh wow.
My wife found it.
Still, you still got the money.
So when does the search begin? That's what I'm asking.
You just
Is it like right when you get?
I forgot about it this year, and my sister was like, "You want to go look for the pickle?" I was like, "Oh yeah."
She's been at college for 3 years now.
I was like, "Yeah, we'll do that." So we started looking everywhere, and I realized my mom was watching us, and every time I look on, because there's multiple trees in the house. Like little
so then that
decoration
makes it a
trees.
little bit better.
And they can
'Cause,
be-
like I'm only a one tree house, so
Well, these are like small decoration
Yeah,
trees
gotcha.
and one big tree, and so it could be on any one of them. And
These are the ground rules. At least you knew there were ground rules. I didn't even know we were playing the game.
what I realized is that whenever my mom followed me, and then would giggle whenever I was looking at a tree, that was the tree it was on.
it was
right?
like a radar.
This year,
Cold. Hot. Cold.
and this year, she put it on the big tree. It's never happened before.
Uncharted territory.
He's got game film. that
So I'm
he's
like
been
checking. There's 5 other trees in the house, 2 in the basement, 3 in the upstairs, and I'm like looking at all of them, and she's not following me. And but there's like 4 other people checking the big tree. And I was like, these idiots. It's never you fools. It's never on the big tree.
See,
And then my wife goes, I found it.
I had
He's
no
got
clue.
stats to go off of.
The other one, I guess, memorable gift. I got a giant box of socks and underwear one year from my parents.
Nice.
I was like 9. I'm like, well, that's great. Thank you. And I put it aside, and my parents are like, he didn't look through the box. Because I was like, yeah, screw this, socks and underwear, slammed it shut.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was a brand new radio, too. It was like they were all like the
Nice.
stuffing around
Oh,
it. So it was like
nice.
an Iowa set of speakers and then
That's
a
pretty
new
good
radio.
idea.
I have 2. I must have been really bad one year because I was like 7 or 8, and we walked in the little living room. We had all our stuff in, and my sister's present from Santa was just right there, out in the middle of the place, and she's playing with it, and I'm just sitting there like, I didn't get anything this year. And there's a letter there from Santa, and my mom starts reading it, and I was like, oh, Chase, you were really bad this year and all that. And finally it says, but hey, your gift's right by the door. Like, she hid it from me. It was awful.
That's a good.
Dude,
I like that a lot.
I was sweating. I was freaking out. I must have been really bad that year. I don't know. But
what did I do?
I mean, that's what I was thinking. I was like, I can't believe I did.
Everything was running through your mind of what you did.
And then the second one was,
I didn't kill the neighbor's cat, but the one time.
the second one was this gift I really wanted. And you might remember this thing, Dakota. It was this dinosaur that you could control. It was a pretty big dinosaur you can control.
It's a robot. The robot dinosaur.
The robot
Yeah.
dinosaur. I wanted that so bad. And my great-grandma said she was going to get it for me. And I got every present that year except for this one. And I opened this thing up, and it's the miniature version.
Oh, yeah. That's a Robin Kelly move right there.
It's a miniature version.
Almost.
That just takes batteries. It has no controller to it. And I was like, what is this? I was so pissed. I'll never forget that.
Oh my God.
That's my
funny.
two. All right, that's all I got.
That's it. Guffey, you got any Christmas memories? Did you celebrate Christmas where you came from?
Yeah, I celebrate Christmas. I'd say probably the most memorable thing that ever happened to me. I actually went blind for like 7 days, right around Christmas time. When I was seriously, it was so fucking awkward. So like I'm stumbling around my entire house, just We go to the eye doctor, nothing happened. Like they have no clue. They're like, well, just go home, see what happens.
You know what causes blindness, right?
Surprisingly, yes. Guess what? It kept going. But no,
The blindness?
yeah. I'm currently
Jer,
blind.
is that you? Is that you, Jer?
I'm currently blind now.
Stop touching me there, Chase.
But no, and then like my brother opened like a creepy crawlers like baking thing, like where you bake those creepy crawlers, and I just stared in that light. Next thing I know, I could see. I was like, creepy crawlers, they're the Messiah.
Creepy crawlers.
Yeah, you don't know what those are?
No.
This is such a weird story.
I know, but it's true. You really don't know what creepy crawlers are, though?
No.
It's starting to sound like Cousin Eddie over here. I don't know. Eyes were crossed, and then the mule kicked her in the head and went back straight. I don't know. Nobody knows what happened.
Is them creepy crawlers curb my blindness?
I swear. I think we should just try it. Let's find a blind person and see if we can cure them.
Guest Justin Kelly of Juice in the Morning went running out a minute ago, and Guffey started his story. So he left his phone, so I'm pretty sure he didn't leave permanently. But we can't go talking to him for his final thoughts. Chris, you got any final thoughts for us?
No, I guess I hope everybody has a safe New Year's. Nobody gets too crazy and don't drink and drive. There you go.
Don't get caught.
Well,
No, just don't do it, period.
yeah. I mean, you all can message me. We're in a group chat if you guys need a ride somewhere.
I don't even know what I'm doing for New Year's yet, honestly. I don't know if anybody around here wants to hang out, our little group here, but it's a school night. Like that, I have to work that day, so the thought of going to Indy after working all day is like
Hold on.
horrifying. I have to work New Year's Eve. I don't have to work New Year's Day.
Oh, that blows.
Yeah, so I got to work Monday.
I had the choice.
I've
whether
talked
I
myself
wanted to
into
take
it.
it off or not, and I chose to work.
To work New Year's Eve. I don't want to burn vacation days to waste in this time of the year. It's quiet
We had a
anyway.
choice too, and I was like,
Give me that
day.
Well, I took all this time off, and I'm taking that Friday off for the trip. So I
Right.
was like, which I still need to put in for on Monday.
You really should do that.
I
Yeah.
forgot to.
As soon as possible.
I forgot to the last Friday I worked because I was so busy, and it was just
He also still owes me $300.
He was very clear you're not getting paid until the day of the trip. So don't try to guilt him
That
on
is
the
true.
air.
That's very subtle.
that was never a question.
I offered him $10 and he says he's got plenty of money. So I don't know what your problem is.
Put it towards the hotel.
But what about the gas?
All right, final thoughts from Justin.
Final thought, man. New Year's Eve is one of my favorite holidays of all time. A lot of my favorite holidays revolve around alcohol. I'm a big fan of St. Patrick's Day, but New Year's Eve is great. I'm just giving a little bit of advice to people out there. Just pace yourself. Pace yourself because you want to be able to enjoy the night. 2 years ago, I think it was 2 years ago, maybe 3, Pat McAfee was doing his Pat McAfee show on New Year's Eve at the what's the one that's downtown? It's not the Egyptian Room.
The Morrell?
The Morrell. He was doing the show there, and I started drinking probably around 5 o'clock, and I was like, "Oh, this is good. I'm just drinking beer. We're good." Like, because as long as I drink beer, I'm usually pretty good the whole night. And then we went to a Mexican restaurant beforehand, so this is full circle.
Whose birthday was it?
I didn't get pied in the face, but we went there, and I drank another couple, like the 32-ounce big boys, and I was feeling pretty good. And then we got into the show and met some just random people that were buying shots, and I started taking shots. I didn't make it. I didn't actually make it to Pat McAfee's performance. I saw all of the opening acts, and I was returning to my seat with drinks for the whole group because I disappeared for a while with these people I met, and I'm handing drinks to people, and I get a guy that grabs me on the shoulder and like spins me around, and he's like, "You touched my wife's ass." And I looked at him and I was like, I don't know what you're talking about, but I'm a I'm a pacifist. I don't fight. I've been in one fight my entire life, and I got punched in the face and I didn't do anything about it. So like, I don't fight.
You got
people.
bullied. That wasn't a fight.
That guy, I was ready to like, I felt like for some reason, I think the alcohol had obviously played a part. I wanted to kill this guy. Like, I was like, I'm going to F him up. And my wife is like, no, just chill. And so eventually security comes down because I just keep like looking, like I'm getting out of my seat, like trying to find this guy. And security came down, asked me to just step out of the theater. I stepped out of the theater. They didn't actually make me leave. So I just walked over to the bar that was right outside of the theater, kept drinking, and ended up not really like passing out or anything, but I just kind of blacked out at that moment. And my wife just told me that all I kept telling her was like, I just want to go home. Didn't even make it to midnight. So my suggestion for you guys out there, if you want to enjoy New Year's Eve, just pace yourself and don't go hard on the booze until at least maybe 10 or 11 o'clock.
Sound advice.
Christmas Eve, Dakota and I spent 4 to 6 together, and then I went to his parents' house, and one of us in my party had to leave early. So I never saw Dakota again at his parents' place because he came in late.
I wasn't the one that had to leave.
Oh, okay.
I got there
that's
late.
what I was thinking. He was looking at you.
I was meeting him later. I'm like, hey, we have to do Christmas with my wife's family real quick, and then we'll be there. And I start going there, and he's like, my wife's puking, and I'm drunk.
Hey, it happens. It happens to the best of us. I mean, I feel like I'm a pretty seasoned drinker, but that night got a hold of me. A lot of like celebratory days back 2 or 3 years ago, they always got a hold of me, and I ruined a whole year.
Juice. It was like 9:30.
Oh yeah.
I'm
not gonna lie, man. That's happened.
I could have come back, but I was babysitting at that point.
You can rally. I've
Like
seen
I
you
said,
do it.
that same year, I ruined New Year's and I ruined St. Patrick's Day for myself. Both years, or both holidays. So
One of the greatest
I learned from
drinking
it.
holidays I've ever had. I went to St. Patrick's Day in Chicago with some family. I did New
that
Year's.
would be fun.
I did St. Patrick's Day in Chicago, and then I did New Year's in Chicago one year as
Nice.
well. That New Year's in Chicago, I don't know the entire story of that weekend, but it was a great time.
I'm sure, and I'm sure it gets relayed to you later.
It was a lot of fun. Yeah.
Also, just the last part, I appreciate you guys letting me come on. I had a blast with you guys on our podcast. Thank you for letting me join. I mean, seeing your guys' studio literally makes me have the drive to get what I want to have. So I appreciate you guys having me on and kind of giving me the motivation to have this for myself.
We're thrilled you're here, man. This is a lot of fun. I definitely enjoy listening to your podcast. I found your show through Mark Foltz and Jesse Riddle,
Right.
a couple of
great
friends
guys
over here.
They're hilarious.
And
They're going to come
from
on.
time
They're
to
going to
time.
come on more often too, because, like I said, with my job, it's actually opened it up to where I can do more shows throughout the week. So, like, if somebody's scheduling doesn't work out for Sunday, I'm free Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then and most evenings as well. So it's there's going to be a lot more content in 2019. I'm going to say that for sure.
Very
and a lot of
exciting.
more on location content because I've got some gear coming for that.
Nice.
And
Yes.
you've got you've done some live shows in the past
Yep.
as well.
Man, our 100th episode, we played in front of fives of people. It was great. It was awesome.
We are coming up on our 100th. This is episode 93, and we've been kicking around some ideas for the 100th. We haven't figured out what we're going to do yet, but we do need to make it special, Dakota.
Yeah. The 100th episode was it was a great dry run on figuring out what does work and what doesn't work. Don't do a live show and go 50 miles or 100 miles away from home where all your friends and family are nowhere around, because then none of them are going to show up. Because we met some guys in Cincinnati that had a bar that was a live venue, and they were like, yeah, sure, come and do it there. And I was like, yes, perfect. We're going to do that. The content of the show was great, but
you didn't bring your crowd.
No. And there was the board was from probably 1982 and didn't work with the mobile recording stuff, so it just sounded awful when we put it up as a podcast. But the actual event was hilarious, great time. It was the Pointless Discussions podcast. They're hilarious improv guys, and it was a fun time. So I suggest you guys try to do a live show.
Maybe
I'll give you guys some pointers.
Maybe we'll fill Newcastle Chrysler Fieldhouse. That's only 10,000 people.
Easy.
You could do that.
Dakota, final thoughts.
Half the city.
If Steve Alford can do it, why the hell can't we? That's
My
what
final
I said.
thoughts. First things, I want to point out how much Jeremiah has drifted over this way. You're now sitting in the middle of the table.
Get closer, baby.
I'm on a cord on the other side.
You're just a magnet.
It's hilarious. I looked over at one.
I love these new
You
mic
really
stands.
like people being close to you.
Yeah, I looked over a minute ago and I was like, this whole mic stand is like fully extended. But anyway, yeah.
I'm just showing off the versatility we have in the equipment.
Yes. Very professional now.
These are a little nicer than the ones I have.
They're brand new. After we did your show, Dakota bought them.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
The next week,
Because they're
I
not
show
that
up-
expensive.
I show up and
Sweet.
we've got these.
So my final thoughts, I want to make sure to plug the Patreon again. Like I said, we did restructure it. It is better than it was before. So if you went on there and
Better as in we don't have to live up to any standards or send you things.
you still have to send things. Just there's different bonus stuff in there. Like
Different perks.
yeah,
It's easier for Dakota to
different
administer.
perks. Well, so before we had we didn't expect anybody to be donating at like $50 levels and stuff, right? And we have 4 people who donate at $50 levels, and they're incredible people.
Thank you very much.
And they part of the thing that was promised was getting sent merch every other month, which wasn't a big
and
deal.
babysitting their kids on a Saturday night.
It wasn't a big deal to promise that because we had the Vistaprint promo boxes, and then they started getting crappy, right? Like here's the secret about Vistaprint promo boxes.
the
all you
first month
business
is
owners.
great, then after that you
Yeah.
don't like them.
Yeah, and it just continually goes downhill until you're paying $25 to get sent a mouse pad and some
Post-it notes.
some really horribly made brochures that don't even have your right cell phone number on it.
Yeah, get out of here at Vistaprint.
Yeah, and so it was like, well, we have to cancel this. Now we don't have the things that we promised to send these people, and you reach out, and they're not signing up for Patreon to get stickers and stuff in the mail, right. And so it worked out. So then it was like, well, we need to compensate. I'm like thinking going into 2019, we need to make sure that this is actually worth people's money. Like these people are doing a great gift and a great service to us by donating this much money. Let's make it worth their while. And so I sat down today and kind of looked at other podcasts, Patreon tiers, and was like, we can actually do this. This is very easy.
I
to
definitely
accomplish.
need somebody on my team that's willing to do that, because I do pretty much everything else.
Yeah, well, yeah.
If somebody could work on the Patreon, I'd be okay with it.
We need somebody to work on Instagram. I'll work on your Patreon if you do our Instagram.
Dude, I've got a guy, man. I got a guy. Johnny that has joined the podcast has really taken over the social media, and it's just made it way more interactive. People are actually
I love the polls.
Yeah, they're traveling to the page to actually see the stuff that's on our page, which is cool. And it's showing up in their feed because of the algorithm. If you click on it, you're going to get shown it again.
All right.
I'm done. I just
all you
wanted to
got?
pitch that again.
I want to congratulate Travis White real quick. He's the new editor of the Henry County Courier-Times, Newcastle Courier-Times, friend of the show. Travis is on very early and longtime friend of ours, so congratulations,
Woo!
Travis. Come a long way, but it's pretty exciting. Mason Rottinghouse is in the chat, says if you donate $50 or more, you can enjoy a monthly dinner with Jeremiah and Dakota.
Not true. Close, but no cigar.
Close.
No dinners.
If you go $100 a month, I'll eat dinner with you once a month. Why the hell not? If you go 100, I'll do that.
We don't have 100.
But you have to buy. You have to pay. I'm not going to pay out of my
You're
pocket.
going to pay cash.
Yeah, you're paying for the dinner too, but I'll go with you if you meet me at the Elks Club on a Wednesday night.
I think our $25 tier is the best value we got, and we have a special.
What's included in that?
It's a huge list. man.
List? Okay.
Yeah, you got.
That's a horrible sell.
Got to look.
Always
Hold
going
on.
to 50.
Hold on. We do have a promotion going on from tomorrow at noon through January the 10th. So tomorrow being Friday to Thursday, January the 10th. If you sign up at the $10 level, then you get that postcard I was telling you all about at the beginning with a handwritten note and signed by everybody on the crew, which is usually...
Does that even count Guffey?
Yeah, it does.
Oh, shit.
Producer Chris?
Yeah. And that is usually at the $25 and up tier. But if you sign up $10 a month right now, well, tomorrow at noon,
Yeah.
then you can get
Not
in on
right
that.
now.
You can sign up now. We'll roll you in.
Patreon lets you do these promotions, but you have to schedule it and promote it a day in advance. I don't know why they do that.
If you go $150 a month, I'll give you a reach around.
I was waiting for
A month?
that. I was waiting for that.
It's been a minute.
So it's one a month. Is it one a month?
It's been a minute, Chase. Hold
It's
on.
one a month. $500
He's-
gets you 3 times a month. You
I
choose
can't wait
when
till
and
somebody
where.
takes him up on this.
Chase, Brent wants to make sure that you drop the F-bomb on his thank you note. People like you. I don't know why, but they do like you.
If you sign up at $75 or more, then you get to be a guest on the show any Thursday of your choosing.
Any Thursday?
Oh,
Yeah.
that sounds great.
I mean, obviously, we're gonna give them,
Schedule it out.
We're gonna say we have shows picked a month in advance. Anytime after that, take your pick.
All right. This has been fun.
I appreciate it, guys.
I donate monthly now to the Juice in the Morning podcast because I
How much?
appreciate it. Well, he has a very affordable plan.
Yes. Hell yeah.
Very affordable.
Anybody listening to this, go on there.
$1 a month. He signed up and like, it's $1 a month. I'll give him $1.
99 cents a month.
Yeah.
My mom won't even do it.
My mom won't get on mine either.
She's ridiculous.
Jeremiah's mom gave us 4
Yeah, I was
stars.
going to say, my mom gave me 4 stars, and I had to go back and
My
be like,
mom was like,
you
oh.
don't understand.
Yeah. My mom was like, I will make a monetary donation, but I have too many things coming out of my bank account monthly. And I was like, 99 cents?
Your mom gave us 4 stars.
Yes. I had to go back and be like,
She said, it's okay.
you're not as good as Rogan.
But no, they can go to anchor.fm/juice in the morning, and you can, I think it's donate 99 cents a month. There's $4.99, I think, and then $10.99. I think I get like 23% more of the income if somebody does $10.99, but haven't got anybody there yet. But we've got 3 people that's already done 99 cents. And like I said, I just started this 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I mean, we're actually making money for the first time ever, and it's not just a money pit where I'm just dumping all of my extra expendable cash into gear
We've had
and
our Patreon
stuff
for
like that.
a year.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. It takes some time
Yeah.
to build it up. It does.
Very cool. Well, we're very appreciative of everybody that watches. We're an hour and a half in, plus there's about 15, 20 minutes of bonus content on
sorry
the
about
Patreon side. It's not your fault. It's not you. It's me. Trust me. We do it we're not as tidy as we want to be.
We promised we would get better.
Listen, every show you have me on is just gonna gonna go off the rails.
It was
a bit.
Don't be a
Chase's
cluster.
question about the Christmas gifts that really threw us off.
Wasn't on the list. All right, next week, Liam Perino of the Catfished. He's applying to be on Catfished. He's not.
That's awesome.
He's not going to get the job.
TV show, yeah.
I think they already told him no. He wants to be a co-host. Are you doing the show? Are you,
I like
are you
this guy.
self-inviting?
Maybe I might show up.
You're showing up.
Me, Chase, and Kyle used to watch Catfish a
all
lot.
the time.
Yeah.
Dude, all right. I wish we had more time because I have a catfish story. But
Oh, God.
we'll hold off.
Hold it.
Because
Next
we'll do it
time.
again.
We'll have you back, or you'll have us back,
Yeah,
and we'll
for
talk.
sure.
We'll talk about it. All right, this has been fun. We will see you all next week on episode 94.
I'm waiting for the sign.
Thank you for listening to the Boss Hog of Liberty, which is part of the We Are Libertarians Network. I am Chris Spangle, and I am the founder of this network, and I invite you to listen to all of our shows, which you can find at WeAreLibertarians.com or by searching for these in your podcatcher. The flagship show is the We Are Libertarians podcast, where we apply libertarian principles to current events. The Brian Nichols Show is a conversation amongst Republicans, Democrats, Libertarians, Independents, as they talk about what is happening in the news. And we have many other podcasts like The Chris Spangle Show, Upward, The Cost, Raw Audio Politics, Miranda's World, and Tad Talk, which is quite a ride. So check all of these out. Go to WeAreLibertarians.com and you can check out all of our great podcasts. Thanks for listening. Thank you for listening to the We Are Libertarians Network. Get our other shows at WeAreLibertarians.com.